Hi guys, it's Becky at Aunt Beck's Creations, and I just thought I would turn the camera on while I'm working on this. Hi. I've been at this for a while. I was watching Great British Bake Off while I'm doing this, and this takes a lot of time. This block, it's called a frolic block, and you have to be very careful when you're pressing all your seams, because you have a lot of bias cuts, and you can't do a motion like, you can't push and shove back forth like this. You have to set it, hold it, lift up, and move over. If you start doing that number back and forth on it, it'll warp the block like crazy. So I just thought I would share what I've been doing. I do one of these a day when I decide I can have enough gumption to do it. But the reason I press them like this first, it sets the stitches into the fabric. And this little thing gets hot as it can be. It's by Clover Needlecraft. And even though this is a straight seam here, I'm still going to be very careful because I've got two bias cut seams here, and I don't want to affect them in any way. So I just kind of pull it apart, the two pieces back apart, and then carefully open this here, and then I just kind of finger push it down, and then I bring this in and I just set it down on that seam, because I'm pressing them all open because I have so many interlocking seams that if you don't press them flat on this particular block, you will end up with too much thickness at a seam, and it'll be very lumpy and bumpy. And I found this is the best way to do this block, is everything open. A lot of times you'll just press your seams towards your darkest fabric, and I'm going to go back over these. But with this one, I tried it and it just didn't work. I ended up with a block that was kind of lumpy bumpy, and I don't want the rest of these to be like that. So then I turn it over, make sure all the seams are still laying flat, and then I just go over the seam I just did. And I'm just lifting and letting that sit on there. Alright, and then I have, see, I have the picture, I have it where I can see it, so I know which way this block needs to go. And this one should be the one that runs under the center. So it goes like this. Is that right? Yeah, like that. And then I've stitched them in rows. And then when I do that, I'll put a piece of fabric that denotes where I'm on the next row. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. Just setting the seam again. I've got some stew beef slow cooking for our dinner tonight. Scott went into work yesterday. He worked a really long day. It was over 12 hours yesterday. But that's what happens when they're coming up with a new testing procedure, and he has to be out on the floor with the ladies out there that are putting the units together. Pacemakers. So they were coming up with a new test procedure to make sure, you know, the test, that the machines, the things work. This I will, because this is a square block, I am just kind of pushing along on that. I just want that to lay down a little smoother right there. And you can do that as long as you're not near those bias cuts. So today he went in a little bit later, and he said he'll be home about 5:30, but I think what that means is he'll get off at 5:30, because that's usually what he does. Alright, and so if I look at the picture, the black goes up right here. I was gonna watch Live Each Day. She said it came up that she was on live chat, and there's just folks doing the chat is up, but Kristen's not on there. And for anybody that doesn't know, Kristen and her husband Corey, they are Live Each Day on YouTube, and he is currently away and filming, what is it? Naked and Afraid. So yeah, I've been watching her and how she's handling being on her own with the baby, and now her parents are visiting. So, and she just turned 30, so she's a year younger than my son. So it's kind of fun to watch a young couple, you know, starting out in a marriage, having a baby, and they do kinds of fun Alaska stuff as well. So if you've never checked them out, they're an interesting young couple, and it's so fun to see them with their baby and everything. She's cute as she can be, that little Chell. All right, so back to this. But each one of these blocks, because of all the time it takes to do this, and everybody's probably wondering why I don't have a full-size iron. This actually is easier. A big iron, you might warp your block. I really like this little mini iron. And it came with a bag that you can slide it in even when it's hot. So if I wanted to visit a crafting friend we were quilting together, I could take this iron with me. And then if I needed to go right away, I wouldn't have to worry about waiting for it to cool down. All right, and it comes with a little stand to set it on, and this one goes red down. Now I hope the next one I'll clip it, because I sew these in like a long chain. I'll go from one set to another of blocks that are connecting. Like this next step, I'll form like this into a big block, this one, this one, this one, this one, so that I have block units, and then I can sew them in rows, and then sew those rows together that way, and then the block will be finished. I'm not going to keep y'all while I put it all the way together, but it is fun. This one has been a real challenge for all of us that are participating in this swap. I really have to work up wanting to do it, if that makes sense. It's one of those, it's like, oh, once you get it done, it's so beautiful, it's worth doing, but so time consuming. It's 3 or 4 hours for one block. And to quickly piece the diagonal ones, I don't cut triangles. I just mark from the corner to corner with a pencil, and then I sew a 1/4 inch and then cut on the pencil line. I sew a 1/4 inch from each side, and then when I cut on that center pencil line, I end up with 2 of that block. And the reason you want to be very careful is you want to have all of your points match, and you want to make sure that your seam allowance, when you do it, it'll be a tight point to there when I sew the blocks together. So yeah, it's time consuming, but oh so worth it when this block is totally pieced. I got one more I've got to press open, and then I'll start pairing them up. Everybody's asking, where's Kristen? Is this feed over? I don't know what's happened. But, okay, something else has popped up. YouTube. Didi Die's Crafty Corner just uploaded a video, a small haul, and a little chit-chat. So, Diane, I'll have to go watch that when I turn the camera off, because I don't want to have to speed through and have to cover up your sweet voice talking. So, anyway, it's windy here today. I don't know about y'all. I did a load of laundry because I needed to, because Scott was going through his jeans like crazy this week. And, oh boy. I went down to get them, and I thought it was going to get blown off the stairs, but it's quit now, but it's so overcast. Oh, bad news. Okay, yeah, I got bad news. I took Scott lunch, what was it, Tuesday. And after we ate lunch, he said, pop your hood on my car. And he said, yeah, you need to go straight home and don't go anywhere else with this car because my radiator is failed. So we got to get a radiator to put in the car. And then he looked up what the cost, just the labor cost to put a radiator in my car. Just the labor alone is $800. And the new radiator is only like $118, and then there's some hoses and clamps and things. So he's determined that he's going to try to do it himself. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's not what I expected. My car is a 2006. And when I was a manager at Joann's, I did a lot of traveling. I helped with the remodel on a store in North Carolina where I had to go up there and I had to work overnights to help with them. When they did their remodel, all of the aisles changed direction. So the aisles that used to go this way, they all turned and went this way. And so it was all overnights. It was crazy. And I put a lot of miles on my car. So it's probably reaching the end of its time. And Scott's been talking about how much trouble he has getting in and out of the lower cars. So we're talking about letting me use his car and we'll trade mine in and get something that he can get in and out of easier. His knees are just all ate up with arthritis, so we might have to look at some kind of vehicle that sits up a little higher. So that's what I'm going to do now here is you flip this one down and you match your seam up. Try to match your corners up. And what I do is I put a pin in. These will be fed through the machine going this way. So when I put a pin in the center here, I try to put it in where it'll hold the most seams down.
Hey everybody, good morning.
All right. I'm going to let you go because Kristen's on.